Good evening guys, it's 5:35 p.m. Today is March 30th 2022 and I'm going to walk you through Mbox Wave and how it works out, in line with my levels, or I would say my pre-market plan. So now in order to before you watch this video, if you haven't watched my other video without Mbox, right, for today 3:30th end of day video, watch that first, where I will walk you through basically entire these things in line with the pre-market plan, right? And then I'm also going to show you how it is working out in conjunction with Mbox also, like both goes hands in hands, right? So let's say if you are struggling, for example, let's say you don't have any of these lines. For these are the NQ's line, levels. Let's say you don't have a lines, right? And then a price goes here, let's say for example right here, and you can see, okay, so demand is increasing 418 to 713, right? Here it's struggling, there are a lot of algo pullback, bullish pullback, right? And there was no Mbox buying here, and then you can see this buying, there was a green blue dots, right? X control buying dots, right? Everything is pointing to the higher side, and then suddenly price goes here and then boom, comes down, right? And then suddenly it stops here and then goes higher, right? So if you are trading in the dark, I would say, solely based off this, it would work. But then you have to understand one thing, that you need to know, you have to draw your levels, right? Without levels, it's a blind trading. So you have to draw your levels first, right? If you're good at it, your resistance, your support and all these things, then you can use this tool, to help you out for the confirmation, right? But if you don't have any levels, and if you trade it without it, you have to better be smart enough, to use these things by itself alone. See, I can use both ways. I can use these things alone, so without my levels or with levels, I have no problem, because I trained myself to trade without any of this tool, right? Because I was trading solely based off the levels, right? So now adding Mbox there, it gives me additional confirmation, so usually I take the first trade of my levels, first test without seeing anything, right? But nowadays I also watch Mbox to see whether it's confirming after I take the trade, right? So for example, let's say this 150 level, right? So 150, 160 is a level, right? So you can see it price bounce right off the open from that level, right? So now I know at least I have a support there, and I see the green dot here, blue dot, right? So and then buying came, so it makes sense, right? It's not from the dark, it's from the level, so it's basically confluence, right? Then it went higher, right? And then I know it's my resistance here, 182, see right here, and then it came down, so I know exactly why it came down, I don't have to even look at, otherwise by looking at 458, 713, everything else, there is no way you can figure out it's going to tank from here. But if you have a level, at least it might get a rejection from here. So knowing the level, you can take a profit here based on Mbox, dots and all these things. You can go long here because it's in line with 150, right? Then you can bail out here, right? Or without even level, you can even go long here, right? So you don't need a level, but if it is there, there is a confluence there, right? So both works in conjunction here. And then there is a rejection here, right? So when you see a rejection, right, and then you see this, right, at least level is there. When it came down here again at 150, this support is still valid, right? And there was a line at 141 here, so price touched here, right, and then it bounced. So now it bounced, right? And when it came down, look at this, minus 89. When it came up, same wave, you can 713. So supply is there, but it's a weak supply here, right? Now Mbox selling was there, but same time it's like Mbox buying was also here. So both are counter to each other, right? Neither party is strong. But now you look at cumulative delta and this, then you can say, what, even though here both are equal, but here some buying is there, see? So that's why you see this pullback, back up, Then price went higher to 208, that was my level, right? So here 208, right? So here you can say, hey, 208, it's a breakout of this morning balance, and then price touch 208, right? So it is going to hold here or not, right? So now you can look at this delta, 713, 119, 132 at the time of breakout, right? So it's a weakness. Some weakness is there, but it is not a reason to short here based on this, right? Because of this, look, it's like a failed effort here, right? Failed effort to go down based on this mbox sellings. Immediately buying came, right? Still stepping up, and delta is still good, right? So you can't short here, but knowing the level and this slight weakness in delta can give me enough reason to even short here, which I did actually based on the level, not based on this, right? But this was my confirmation, see? And then it went down, right? Again tried to effort to go here, again failed, right? Again went to 150. At the time, you can see these things, it was diverging, see? It was not enough supply here, see? Sorry, not enough mbox selling here compared to this, right? And it was 124, it was X control, everything was there for this thing to go down, right? But it couldn't because this and this delta was still, pretty well, cumulative delta was still holding, right? And you can't sell it in the middle, you have to wait for a breakdown. See, the breakdown did not happen, and immediately you can see, even though if you try to short it here, immediately there was a blue dot, buying came immediately. Look at this, right? At this point, now you can see this thing was going higher, so mbox buying was increasing, right? And this thing also breakout happened about this box, right? So, and cumulative delta also increased, right? This buying came, so at this point everything was pointing to the upside right here, right? So, and you can see there was a 347 delta compared to 132, 82, 15, 119, right? So overall, if you look at, if you plus 119, 132, 18, 15, 347 plus 41 and 1, and if you combine with minus 100, 124 and 89, clearly buyers were in control here, and there was a breakout. This thing, after looking at this, everybody will go long right here based on this alone. As I'm assuming here you don't have those lines, right? So you will take this long based on the breakout, right? Assuming you don't have a line, and if you have a line, then you wouldn't take it. You will wait for a price to go further higher, then pull back, then you will go long. So now I knew that this 220 is my dream number, and dream numbers are very important. So if you looked at my video for this thing alone, you will know the importance of dream number. And it was a breakout straight from 150 to 220, exhausted there, and so, but that shouldn't give you a reason to short here by looking at this alone, right? Instead you will go long, but I waited, I actually took a short first test, right? Then I built out here, right? Then again it broke out, right? But knowing the context, I know today is the day for a failed breakout or legit breakout, but there are chances failed breakdown can happen nicely today, or failed breakdown can happen today, So the moment, so the moment it broke out here, right, at the second test right here, right, I looked at the delta, 131, 61, 347. So this is, delta is decreasing, pink line is very important, delta is decreasing, and immediately I see mbox buying decreasing also. See right here, this cumulative delta is also decreasing, this volume also decreasing, and I have this stoogy sort of sell algo here, number one, right? So at this point I know there are chances it may fail, so but I waited. This time I did not take this short at the first test here. See, here I took it, but this time I waited. Now I said, it's time to put mbox at work, right? So the moment it went higher, came down below this pink line, right, and then right slight pop back up again to that pink line, I took that short, because this things was developing at the time. So I had enough evidence now, this, and level, and fail breakout. So I took this short, right? Then I saw control, X control selling, that was my second confirmation. That's where I took another short, add-on entry, and then I just wrote it down, because I was looking for 200 point down move from there, so at 100 point it came straight to this support 113, that was my support, which is a green line here. So I bailed out here, considering this could be an overdone here, and then I can see this, this could be a climax, who knows, and then it indeed became a climax, because you can see it here, 116, 88, 11, like immediately some buying came, right? But price can even fail here and go down, continue to go down, but then it went down back to 113, and you can see it 468 and minus 11. Supply is decreasing, this thing is also decreasing, and no mbox selling, compared to this. So, and this is also cumulative delta is also decreasing, and I know this could be the climax, into the level. So you can even go long here, after you see this 267, when price pull back, you can even go long, by that time you have seen mbox buying increasing, right? And delta and mbox selling continue to decreasing, so you can even go long here. But considering all these things, I rather be on the short side today than long side, so I did not take any longs, right? But I was observing these things. See, later on you can see buying continue to decrease, selling continue to increase, like this, see. So, but it was a choppy range, so you can't do anything, but then later on, that's once this 113 again taken out, right? At that time you can see these things, right? So at that point it looks like buyers are trying to gain control, because now if you look at this mbox buying is increasing, right? But delta was poor here, okay? Now this delta was very good, 387, right? So in that case, I was hoping that if indeed, if price is exhausted here, right, again into support, and if this is a legit buying, it should hold this 113, right, and then make a new high. At that point, I want to see mbox buying also increasing, and this increasing, then I would go long, but instead you can see it dot breakdown minus 381, right? There is a pullback algo here, right? And immediately selling came, this selling came, and that's a confirmation. Now end of the day, price wants to finish its unfinished business to go lower into my another level, which is this, because this level I wouldn't consider now, because entire day's range is broken. Then it will easily go to yesterday's low, because ES was targeting 82 or something, right? So slight chop around here, right? You can see it's minus 381, 27 and 70. This is in control, and you can see there are multiple sell imbalances here, right? And this delta is increasing. So, and there was another wave of selling, so selling is increasing. So I took this short right here, at below 113, around 108 or so, or 105, and then just took the profit at my level. So that's how both works in conjunction, okay? And that be all for today.